Well, football fans, we're not talking Super Bowl 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50. We're talking Super Bowl 60. Spunky Spectrum, Big D Podcast, Spunky Spectrum Sports. Yeah, we're going all the way to 60, if we can count that high. Joining me from the UK, my football friend, Charlie, and we're going to talk break down Super Bowl 60, and maybe Charlie will try and stump me with some trivia.
I will certainly try. Happy Super Bowl week, Dylan, and thanks for having me on.
By the way, did you have the Seahawks Patriots mean Super Bowl 60 before the year?
Oh yeah. I had a nice healthy wager on. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I did like the graphic that the NFL produced before the season started, which everybody was talking about, with the Patriots and the Seahawks closest to the stadium. But no, I don't think anybody saw this coming. But that's the way it is, and that's the beauty of the NFL. You don't know. I mean, they were both, to use a betting phrase, both were massive outsiders, around 60, 66 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. So anybody who has cashed in on one of those two teams will stand to make a nice tidy profit.
Yeah, if somebody put £100, $100 on the Patriots and Seahawks winning the Super Bowl, you're going to have a nice payout next week.
Yes, you are. And also, if you can't predict, you can't bet on which two teams will be in the Super Bowl. So if you did predict those two teams, you've got a nice payday coming your way. So yeah, spend the money wisely and gamble aware. Always have to say that.
And by the way, we know how much betting has become part of sports in both our countries. Do you know how much? Do you know how from your betting brethren how much your friends are willing to risk on this big game?
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry these days. I don't know what the Super Bowl would pull, but it is obviously the biggest single sporting event that's bet on in America. Obviously, you've got the NBA Finals there. We're seeing 7 games, same as the baseball and everything else. But for a single game, Super Bowl would be the highest single paid betting day, certainly. Have you got a figure?
It's in the billions.
Oh yeah. I still can't believe that not every state has legalized gambling. I know we're going down a very sensitive road for some people, but there is so much money each state can make legally. I'm talking about the authorities from betting. It saves people paying higher taxes. So yeah.
I mean, I think there are reasons why some states have not fully embraced betting. I mean, I know in Florida we have like Seminole Indian tribes and like different avenues to bet, whether it be on FanDuel or Bet365 or DraftKings. But you go to different states and you wager what you want.
Yep. So yeah. It should be a good game. And if you had one bet, Dylan, for the Super Bowl, what would it be? Are you into the props? Like, what color will the Gatorade be?
I'm not really into the props of like what color Gatorade or how long the halftime show will be or how many songs will it be. I want player props, and I honestly think Drake May rushing yard prop intrigues me because I think Drake May's going to have to run in the Super Bowl. So I really like Drake May rushing prop.
Well, I think both quarterbacks will be very cautious at the start, and I would expect both opening plays for both teams to be rushing plays. You don't want your quarterback to be sort of throwing on their first snap because nerves will be high. You could just sort of like get too overexcited and throw the ball a little bit higher or harder than you wanted to, and suddenly you're intercepted And that is not the way you want to start a Super Bowl. You want to ease into it slowly. So hand the ball off a couple of times, get a first down under your belt, and then start opening up the game and the playbook to the passing game. That's what I would see. And I'm intrigued to see how both quarterbacks do. We've never seen these two players in such a high-profile game before. How will they cope? I was very impressed with Sam Darnold last week. I didn't see his performance last week coming against a team that had picked him off 6 times in 2 games in the regular season, to suddenly turn into like Joe Montana and, not throw an interception and lead the team to the Super Bowl. Fair play to him. Can he do that in the Super Bowl? We shall see. Again, Drake May, it's an incredible story. 2nd year in the Super Bowl. We shall see. It's got shades of Dan Marino, hasn't it? 2nd year reaching the Super Bowl, but let's not go there. Let's move on.
I mean, it's funny because when you mention Drake May and the Patriots, we all think back to when Tom Brady and New England got to a Super Bowl 24 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They had the greatest show on turf, but we know what happened in the Super Bowl, in the Super Dome, no less. But does this New England team remind you of those early New England teams with Belichick? Now, Vrabel's coach forever, played in the NFL, but does this New England team remind you of those early Patriot teams?
Yeah, they do. They do, and why wouldn't they? Vrabel played under Bill Belichick, so he knows all the tricks, he knows all the rules, and we've seen that, not this year, but in recent years where he has used the clock management brilliantly. There was also that time where he used it was the Patriots this year, wasn't it, who basically wasted a 3rd down to go for it on the 4th down to kill a bit of the clock. Wasn't that the Patriots this year?
It would not surprise me knowing New England.
That doesn't surprise me with Vrabel, because obviously he did it a couple of years ago against Belichick, didn't he? He called a timeout with a punt or something. There was some loophole that he found to gain an advantage in that game. I can't remember it, but if you look it up.
Playoff game where Vrabel and the Titans were able to kill a little bit more of the clock.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. So I think he has learned a lot from Bill Belichick over the years. And do you know what? Everybody talks about when Sean Payton, did the onside kick to start the second half. You can't do that now. It's got to be in the 4th quarter, etc., and you've got to declare it, which is stupid. But I'm looking at some sort of trick play from Belichick, from Vrabel in this Super Bowl. So keep your eyes peeled. Something will happen. There'll be a trick play somewhere by the Patriots.
I would not be surprised. I mean, we even saw a couple of trick plays in the AFC Championship game. Maybe a flea flicker. I mean, heck, remember the Super Bowl in Minnesota where the Patriots tried throwing the ball to Tom Brady. Unfortunately, Tom Brady's a lot better quarterback than he is wide receiver, but that's either near or there.
Did you see a trick play in the AFC Championship game?
Flea flicker.
All I saw was snow. I couldn't see a thing.
Flea flicker, and I think New England did a halfback direct snap. And I'm like, those 2 plays for like what Josh McDaniels did 20 years ago. Yeah.
No, I agree. It was a game spoiled, but by the snow. But I like that. I'm not one of these who wants to play in a dome, for God's sake. I mean, you have home advantage because you can play in the snow or the cold weather. I mean, my God. I wish Miami was in the freezing cold. We could get to the Super Bowl. I keep asking myself, Dylan, why do you keep bringing me on to talk about the Super Bowl? It's like a mythical thing. Does it actually exist? As a Dolphins fan, I hear these stories about, years and years ago, Miami reached the Super Bowl and they won every game in the season. You just you're putting me through the ringer here. You're making me talk about things that I have no experience of. But no, listen, I enjoy it. Super Bowl this year. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one. And the interesting thing is the current score since the 1970 merger, the current score in Super Bowls is Do you know? Do you know what the score is
What?
between the NFC and the AFC since
I'm
1970?
guessing it's even.
It will be if the Patriots win. It's 28 to the NFC, 27 to the AFC.
Which is crazy because the NFC won Super Bowls for a decade and a half in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, they won 13 in a row, didn't they? The NFC. So, yeah, no. Should be good. And another point that I wanted to make was we could have been talking, Dylan, about a Super Bowl between two teams who had won in London earlier in the season. The Broncos and the Rams both won in London earlier this season, but unfortunately they came out on the wrong side last weekend. That would have been nice. Who is the only team to have won the Super Bowl after playing in London the same season?
Would that be the 2007 New York Football Giants?
Yeah, it would. It would.
And bonus points, I think they beat your Dolphins in that game.
Yeah, they did.
In London.
They did.
And then the only pitch was all screwed up and England didn't make the Euros soon afterward.
Yes. Eli Manning took forever to score that touchdown from 10 yards, and he made Jason Taylor look like the fridge. Simple as that. There's no other way of describing it.
I mean, it's when we think AFC quarterbacks in Super Bowls, we think of Jim Kelly, the Dolphin, Bob Greasy, Dan Marino. Mm-hmm. If anybody would have said Drake May would have been to a Super Bowl before Josh Allen, what would you have said?
If anybody had said Sam Darnold would have made the Super Bowl before Josh Allen,
from the same
draft, or Lamar Jackson, or whoever else was in that draft class. It's crazy. But this is the thing. So much attention is given to the quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, you think the quarterback plays well, the team wins. But no, it's not. It's like there's three parts to it. And the LA Rams know this very well. Your special teams has to be as good as your quarterback and your defense. Now, that muffed punt by the Rams changed that whole game last week. So yeah, all three units of your team has to play well. It's not just about a quarterback doing well. So if you look at it that way, Seattle probably has the better defense and better special teams. Possibly the better balanced offense, although, they've lost Charbonnet as their number one quarterback, but Kenneth Walker, my God, what a good replacement to bring in. So yeah, and again, you don't know until the game starts and how the flow goes, who gets momentum early on, and one mistake could come down to one mistake. How many times have we previewed a Super Bowl and we said, like, one little error here or there could be a special teams, missing a field goal, blocking a field goal, muffing a punt, dropping a catch, fumbling the ball and the inside the 10-yard line. We don't know what the future holds, but massive games like this can turn on the smallest things like that.
I mean, going back to a Super Bowl 48, first snap in the game went 20 feet over Peyton Manning's head, and then I think, after that, everybody thought the same thing. Oh no, the Broncos have no chance to win this game.
No. They everybody says that, don't they? That was the end of their chances. So yeah, that's it. We don't know how it's going to unfold. We can talk, and everybody will talk. Everybody will have their opinions between now and the time of the kickoff, and we're all made to look stupid if we've made a prediction as to how it's going to go, because we simply do not know. And that is the beauty of sport, not just the American football, not just the NFL, not just the Super Bowl, but sport in general. It's so unpredictable.
And you know what else is unpredictable? The career of Sam Darnold, a guy who was the number 3 pick coming out of USC. By the way, first USC quarterback who's ever going to start a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Then traded to Carolina, benched and started there. Sat for a year in San Francisco. won 14 games with the Vikings. Why Minnesota got rid of him? Maybe that's why the general manager is without a job. Now won 14 games and on the precipice of an improbable Super Bowl. Where does Sam Darnold's Super Bowl run with Seattle rank in terms of most incredible storylines that you can remember?
Well, if he wins it, it will be up there with Kurt Warner, and they made a movie out of his fairy tale story. So it's definitely up there with that. And there is so much you can dive into in his career so far. For instance, that infamous quote where he came out when he was playing for the Jets against the Patriots, I think. All I saw was ghosts. That still haunts him. Pardon the pun. Actually, no, don't pardon the pun because I'm quite proud of that. He saw ghosts, and maybe he'll see ghosts again against the Patriots defense this weekend. Well, in the Super Bowl. But certainly, he has to win it for it to mean something. There's so many quarterbacks who have got to the Super Bowl and lost, and it haunts them. Joe Burrow hasn't been back since. Dan Marino didn't get back. So don't think, this is not what I want to hear after the Super Bowl. Oh, Sam Darnold had a great game. He'll be back next year or within the next few years. No, there's no guarantee. There is no guarantee that you get a second bite of the apple. So it is a great story. It really is. And it's right up there with one of the greatest stories in the Super Bowl history, I think.
Yeah, and also the fact that, it seems like people have not always believed in Sam. I mean, I remember hearing stories last year about how his Viking teammates loved him. And yet why Minnesota got rid of him. But, they said, well, Sam can't win a winner-take-all division game. He did that. Then he beat the team. And then he went up against the presumptive MVP and played a magnificent game. And
but again, you're making it sound like anytime a team loses, it's down to the quarterback. It's not. It's probably because the other team's defense nullified him. It's whether a team wins or loses, it's not because of the quarterback. Sam Darnold could throw for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. But Kenneth Walker could fumble the ball 4 times and lose it. And from those 4 turnovers,
four touchdowns. Going back to the NFC Championship games, and Matthew Stafford's fault that the Rams lost? No,
it's not. It's not. And, you talk about the Seahawks and the Vikings teammates loving Sam Darnold. Well, of course, they won 14 games with him as their quarterback. No, they didn't win 14 games because he was the quarterback. They won 14 games with him as quarterback, not because of the way he played. He had his moments and he helped them win games, but so did their defense and so did their special teams. So, of course, you're going to love him. He's won 14 games with the Vikings last year, which nobody expected. He's been traded to the Seahawks and he's won 14 games in regular season this year and he's in the Super Bowl. It's incredible. It is incredible. I agree with you. The people who traded him are now looking at themselves going, oh man, we let one go there. We should have kept Sam Darnold. And again, I come back to I've made this point before several times. It takes a very strong personality to play well for either the Jets or the Giants because the media scrutiny is greater than anywhere else. And if you're not strong enough to handle whatever you do in New York, it's magnified, it's in the newspapers, it's in the TV channels, etc. If you can't cope with that, you will not last 5 minutes. That's why Jackson Dart will do well with the Giants. He's got all the moxie, he's got this brilliant personality, and he's got Scatterboo as well, who's got the same sort of attitude. So those two are a perfect match, and watch out for the Giants next year.
Especially with John Harbaugh as head coach.
Absolutely. Watch out for them next year. So no offense to Sam Darnold. It's easy to say now he was never going to succeed at the Jets because he wasn't strong enough. And maybe he needed that failure in New York for him to be taken away from that market to Minnesota and then now in Seattle, not the biggest markets in the world. I mean, the Seahawks have been knocking at the door for the number 1 seed all season, certainly most of the second half of the season. they were the most underrated team in the NFL in the second half of last season because nobody saw them play. Most of the games were like in the late window.
Seattle's second youngest team in the NFL.
The what team?
Seattle's second youngest team in the NFL.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So I think Sam Darnold has learned a lot from his experience in New York, and he's taken that on board. And the expectation levels in Minnesota last year weren't great for him, but he succeeded. He exceeded those expectations, and the same this year. He exceeded the expectations on him at Seattle. And I mean, it's Mike Macdonald. Well, what can you say about him? You know, Good Morning Football did a piece, showed a picture of Mike Macdonald to NFL fans. Who is this guy? No idea. Not a clue. That's the head coach of a team that's going to play in the Super Bowl. No, you don't recognize him. No, not a clue. That just shows you the job that he's done.
I think both these guys have done great things because McDonald's in his second year. I mean, we all love offensive mind coach. You know what? Defensive mind coach can still win. I mean, McDonald's like the defensive version of Sean McVay. And then Mike Vrabel may be the toughest you-know-what coach in the league. I mean, out in New England, I mean, boy, Tennessee Titans have to be idiots right now thinking, how do we let this guy leave the building?
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things in sport where a coach doesn't fit that team at that time, but he goes to another team. And listen, Vrabel going back to the Patriots is special for him because it means so much more to him. That's why part of me wanted Chris Shula to become the Miami Dolphins coach because of the name, and his grandfather was Don Shula, etc. But I think that still could happen in years to come, and I think that would be a similar situation to Mike Vrabel going back to the Patriots because the team means something to him. So, both coaches have done tremendous jobs, and in a way, I want the Seahawks to win because I don't want to start going down the road of the Patriots winning the Super Bowl again and again and again. We got past that, and then the Chiefs came along and made it boring. Sorry, Chiefs fans. But it would be nice if the Seahawks did win it for the first time since, obviously, before the Malcolm Butler interception.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, it's funny how New England's first dynasty started with a snow game.
Yes, it did. Mm-hmm.
And now this one, even though we're not talking dynasty, might start with a snow game.
Yes, last weekend. Yes. I love watching the snow games. I do love watching low-scoring games. Sometimes when it's like a high-scoring game, it's just, there's nothing much to it. It's just score after score after score. I like to see defenses. I like to see pressure on the quarterback. I like seeing sacks and interceptions. But I'm going to be wasting 3-4 hours of sleep watching this game. So obviously, yes, I would like to see a few points. I don't want it to be another 13-3 Patriots against the Rams a few years ago. So, I mean, a lot of good players. We're talking about Sam Darnold getting to the Super Bowl before Lamar Jackson, people like that. Who's the best player never to win or even play in a Super Bowl, in your opinion?
I knew this was coming. You put me on the spot. I think the best player to never win a Super Bowl is probably Randy Moss, one of the 4 or 5 best wide receivers. Of course, he got to the Super Bowl with the 18-0 Patriots 2007. Set all it's called 23 receiving touchdowns. And then I think he might have been in the Super Bowl with the first Super Bowl with Harbaugh and the 49ers losing to the Ravens. Ravens. But Randy Moss is probably the best player to never win a Super Bowl. I think the 2 best guys in my lifetime I've seen not play in a Super Bowl, probably Tony Gonzalez and LaDainian Tomlinson. I mean, Gonzalez, one of the, if not the best tight ends in football. Almost got there with the Falcons his last year and ended up losing to the 49ers in a home NFC championship game. And LT, one of the best running backs. I think what would have happened if the Chargers held on to the ball against New England? Maybe they end up winning that game, and then of course losing a couple AFC Championship games to the Jets. Won the Peyton Manning, the Colts won the Big Ben. I mean, LT and Gonson to me are the two best in my lifetime. Now, your answer is going to be a little different because you've got a few more years on me. I've got a feeling of what your answer will be.
Well, I'm not going to bore you with the obvious, and there is only one answer, number 13, Dan Marino. But taking that out of the equation, I think Barry Sanders, that would have been one that I would have liked to have seen him play in a Super Bowl and obviously win one, but, wasn't to be. But he was such a great player. He would certainly be one for me that I would have liked to have seen him play in a Super Bowl.
Besides Marino, who would have been your choice of best player to never win the Super Bowl?
I liked the way that Junior Seau played.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start about picking I'm gonna start about picking Junior Seau myself.
Yeah, I loved the way he played. So that's probably my answer there.
I think he got to us. I think he was part of that Charger team that played the 49er team in Super Bowl 29. Also, part of the undefeated Patriots squad. Fortunately, taken way too early.
Yeah.
You wonder with a guy like Seau, if maybe all the concussions he sustained led to his premature death.
Yeah. Well, he certainly has done a lot for the, CTE?
Yeah, CTE.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously, he's got ties with the Dolphins as well. He spent a bit of time in Miami, so yeah, he was just a no-nonsense player as well. I loved players like that, and Lawrence Taylor. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think LT might have scared the living bejeebus out of every quarterback in the 80s.
Yeah. That was just when I was getting into the NFL. You had Dan Marino throwing the ball, and you had Lawrence Taylor just wow. Unbelievable. Great days. And unfortunately, I've said this to you before, the game isn't as good as what it was back then. How the hell quarterbacks survived back then, I have absolutely no idea.
Maybe that's why quarterbacks didn't have long careers. Maybe that's why Roger Staubach retired early.
Yeah, and Ron Jaworski as well. Yeah, people like that got battered left, right, and center.
Well, when you think quarterbacks today, probably you think of two guys. You think of Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. Of course, we know Pat Mahomes has won 3 Super Bowls, and Josh Allen's yet to appear in one. Does Josh Allen? Do you believe that Josh Allen ever gets to the game's biggest stage?
No, I don't think he will. I don't, because it's all very well being Superman, and I hate that term when they're talking about Josh Allen. If he was Superman, he'd be in the Super Bowl year after year after year. He's not. So drop it, okay? He's not Superman. He's a quarterback who's very talented, who runs the ball well. But when it comes to the biggest game of the season, okay, he has never played in the biggest game of the season, but the Buffalo Bills' biggest game of the season in recent years, AFC Championship game, divisional game, whatever, wild card games, whatever. I don't know. He's not as good as what he is in the regular season. Whether that's because of what's going on in his head, he can't cope with the big scenario, the burden of the Buffalo Bills making 4 successive Super Bowls and losing all 4, because they I feel sorry for Buffalo fans, and for a Miami fan, that is big of me to say. I do feel sorry for them because since the 80s, the 90s, when they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, they've become the laughing stock of the NFL. Oh, chokers, yeah, okay. Well, you get to the Super Bowl, but you can't win it. You can't even get to the Super Bowl now. So I do feel sorry for them in that respect, and it is a very heavy burden for Josh Allen because, as we spoke about earlier, you are the face of the franchise, and it all comes down to you. You're the mouthpiece for the team. Whatever comes out of your mouth will be bulletin material across the league. So you have to be careful what you say. You can't possibly say what you want to say because, that will give ammunition to your critics and your doubters, etc. So you just have to come out every week. And how many times have we seen Josh Allen at the podium going, I just wasn't good enough today. I've got to be better. Well, be better. Be better. Maybe a new coach could get the best out of him next year. Because Sean McDermott, I thought, was a good coach, very good coach, taking the Buffalo Bills from where they were to where they are at the end of last season. Okay, I know they fell short in the playoffs, but Josh Allen needs to sort of look at himself and go, right. I mean, that play just before halftime.
One of the dumbest plays I've ever
seen. What is going on? What is going on? That is Josh Allen in 10 seconds. Brilliant to get away from the defenders chasing him, but then stupidity to hold the ball out to try and make an extra yard, and then has it fumbled, knocked out of his hand, and gives away a fumble. And was it the Broncos they were playing? I can't remember.
Yeah, and gave away 3 points.
And they scored a field goal with the last kick of the game, last kick of the half. It's just man, just calm down. Game doesn't always have to be played at 100 miles an hour. Just calm down. But that's why I don't think he will get to the Super Bowl, to answer your question. Do you think he will?
Honestly, I think Josh Allen and the Bills' best winner to win a Super Bowl has come to an end.
Yeah, it has been.
Unfortunately, Brandon Beane's not been the best GM. Only 2 Pro Bowls during Allen's time. And be honest with you, the Bills are in all over the cap, have they have really good offensive line. James Cook, who knows if the Bills will ever get a wide receiver. And defensively, the Bills could lose guys on that side of the ball. I think Joe Brady, the Bills are going to have so much pressure on them going to a new stadium with a new coach. And Josh Allen's going to be 30. And I don't think Josh Allen will play. I don't think Josh Allen's career will be like Tom Brady. Tom Brady could still be playing the NFL because he didn't take all the hits. Josh Allen's taken a ton of hits.
Yep. And also, we're talking about dealing and coping with pressure. When the Bills entered the playoffs, it was Buffalo have to win. There's no Patrick Mahomes, there's no Lamar Jackson, there's no Joe Burrow. So what is stopping the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen from winning the Super Bowl? No Lamar Jackson, no Joe Burrow, and no Patrick Mahomes. And then you're sort of like, you go to bed night tonight, you're going, if I don't win the Super Bowl, I'm going to be like the butt of everybody's jokes. I'm going to be talked about first thing in the morning if I lose in the playoffs. And that was the case. So mentally, he has to figure out a way of not letting that criticism get to him. It's difficult. No matter what sport it is, you do. You have to deal, and you get to a certain level. Look at Rory McIlroy at golf, right? Oh, he'll never win the Masters. He choked that time. He had a 6-shot lead or whatever it was, 5-shot lead. Right? Every year he goes back. The first question, can you win the Grand Slam? Is this your year? And then at the end of last year, when he did win it and shut everybody up, the first thing he said was, what are we all going to talk about next year? You can't talk about me not winning the Masters because I've won it. And that's what Josh Allen needs to do. But he's not going to win the Super Bowl. He's not. Okay, let's say next season, the Buffalo Bills get to the Super Bowl, right? 2 weeks before the game, 2 weeks, 14 days, he will have to listen to, oh, Jim Kelly got to 4 Super Bowls and lost all 4. This is Josh Allen's first. Can he put those demons to bed for the Buffalo Bills fan? He has to deal with all that, right? Whoever goes to the Super Bowl with Miami, my God, I hope I'm alive to see that. But they won't have that pressure. Trevor Jackson, there's a picture of Trevor on your wall behind you. If he gets to the Super Bowl, no pressure whatsoever. No one's expecting Trevor Lawrence to win a Super Bowl. And that makes it so much easier for a player to go in. Sam Darnold and Drake May this weekend, or next weekend, well, during the Super Bowl. I know this is recorded when it is being recorded. There is pressure on them to win, but not as much as the pressure on Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl because of what's happened before he was probably born. Well, he might have been born, but he would have been very, very young. So it's a lot to deal with. And the evidence that Josh Allen has provided so far suggests that he will not be able to cope with the pressure of getting to the big game.
And you know what? Maybe Buffalo's the cursed town. Stanley Cup final. Maybe Buffalo's just one of those cursed teams.
Maybe. Even if the Chicago Bears had got to the Super Bowl, there would be no pressure on Caleb Williams.
Oh, zero. There would have been no pressure on this guy either.
No, he would be given the freedom of Chicago for getting them there. But that's not enough for Buffalo fans. Buffalo fans want a championship. I understand that. I get it. You've never done it. You've never won it. You've been there 4 times, etc. They are desperate for it. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and I think all the NFL, just like all the golf world, would love if Josh Allen got to the Super Bowl, just like when Roy finally got his green jacket.
Well, I wouldn't, because that means he'd probably knock the Miami Dolphins out in the AFC Championship game.
That's like what happened in '92, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
You probably remember that game when Thurman Thomas beat you down south.
Yeah, Thurman Thomas is haunting my dreams even to this day.
What about Bruce Smith?
Well, going back to what I said earlier, I don't know how Dan Marino's still walking. You know, the amount of times he's been sacked by the likes of Bruce Smith.
And by the way, Miami didn't have any excuses with the game being at home, but that's
no.
I think both road teams ended up getting a Super Bowl because the Cowboys beat the Niners at Candlestick.
Oh, was that the wet game? There was some classic games between the 49ers and the Cowboys. The changing of the guard in the NFC, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From the Cowboys to the 49ers.
So, when it comes to Super Bowls, there are moments, there are plays, there are drives and performances. When it comes to the Super Bowl, what is the one drive that sticks out in your memory?
Drive? Blimey. I think I've explained this before, because like the game finishes at 4:00 in the morning and I go straight to bed. It's out of my head by the time I wake up the next morning. I know who wins, and that's it. So I'm not like you, you sort of game finishes, you've still got a few hours to sort of digest it. Oh, what a drive that was, what a catch, what a play this was. For me, it's like, all right, okay, the Chiefs have won, the Eagles have won. Time to go to bed now because I've got to go to work shortly in a couple of hours' time. So I'm going to have to pass on that because there's no one drive that stands out for me. There's loads of like memories. We spoke about it before we came on air. It was 40 years this year that Bears won, 46-10 over the Patriots, and poor Walter Payton didn't get a touchdown in the Super Bowl, but William Perry did. Mike Ditka still swears blind that he didn't know that Walter Payton hadn't scored in the game. I'm sorry. That is a crock of what. But anyway, that was Mike Ditka. I wouldn't confront him about it if I was anybody. So things like that.
Okay, I've got one for you. Super Bowl 23, Bengals 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Niners. The Bengals kicked the field goal and went up. I think it would have been 16-13 with 3 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco's got to go 92 yards.
Oh yeah.
Joe Montana, the best undisputed quarterback in football, looks up and sees, hey, there's John Candy.
Yeah, John Candy. Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, I think everybody in the stadium or watching the game on NBC would have been thinking the same thing. The Bengals have no chance to stop Joe Cool.
No.
And to see the West Coast offense being run, Montana throwing it to Craig, throwing it to Rice, throwing it to Tom Rathman.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Rathman. Well, that's
and it didn't matter.
Big neck brace. Tom Rathman, 44, wasn't he?
Yep.
And
I mean, even on like a 2nd and 20 something, Montana hit Jerry Rice for a first down. It's like, and if I would have been a Cincinnati Bengal player, I'm like, this is not. I'm like, you're just dying. They're just dying a slow death because Montana's going to do it. And then before the play, I all but guarantee you this: the Bengals were thinking it's going to Jerry Rice. You can even hear on the NFL film saying it's to Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Montana throws it not to Jerry Rice, but to John Taylor.
Mm-hmm. That
catch will live in Super Bowl videos until we are long off this planet.
We are indeed. It's good that Chris Collingsworth has got over that game too, isn't it? He doesn't mention it that often.
I think that was his last football game.
Yeah. No Ray Lewis exit for him, was there? Or Jerome Bettis.
But by the way, I think that was Bill Walsh's final game as 49er head coach.
Yeah, George Seifert took over. Yeah.
But I think we all came away from that game thinking, yeah, we saw the best quarterback. We saw the best coach. We saw maybe the best wide receiver of all time. And I mean, even the Bengals. I mean, if you would have told the Bengals, you take the champs, you take the best team in the league to 40 seconds left, I don't think the Bengal fans would have been mad, but I don't think the Bengal fans would have. Maybe disappointed, but it's like some might have been thinking, how are we even in this game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, if we get another game that comes down to the final drive like that, I think we'll all be very happy, won't we?
And then, well, yeah, and hopefully we don't end up with Super Bowl 24 where it's like over at halftime. We're all listening to Bad Bunny doing the halftime show, but that's down the road.
Yeah. I think I say this to you every year. During the halftime, I'll be replaying the Prince halftime show from Miami. Best one.
Literally in the rain, no less.
Yeah. I heard I was reading something about that during the week, and they says like, Prince, you're playing with like live musical instruments on the stage and it's raining. Is there anything you want? And he goes, yeah, more rain. Brilliant. I want more rain. I'm going to sing Purple Rain. I want more rain. So, yeah.
Okay, so you know me, I'm the trivia savant. Everybody tries to stump me. Before you ask me trivia questions, I have one for you.
Oh, okay.
We know Drake May will be the second youngest quarterback to start a Super Bowl. Who is the youngest quarterback to start in a Super Bowl?
Dan Marino.
Darn you.
Come on. Come on, you want to see my wardrobe? I've got like 6 Dan Marino shirts. I've got a helmet there. Well, that's a signed Dan Marino shirt in the corner. So, come on. Try and catch me out with a Dan Marino question.
Yeah, I'm going to use on you. Okay, so what do you have for me?
Who was the last MVP to be named from a losing team?
Would that be Chuck Howley in Super Bowl 5?
Well, you could have pretended that you didn't know and sort of like, oh, well, yeah, you're right. You didn't have to answer it straight away. But yes, you're right. Who's, well, yeah, you know that one as well. Have you got any more?
Let me think. No, that'd be too easy.
Who was the first player born outside of the USA to be named MVP in a Super Bowl?
Would that be Mark Rippon, Super Bowl 26?
Yeah, it was.
I think Rippon's Canadian.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
My Canadian friend Kyle Senra can thank me for. I can thank you for that, but I think I would have gotten Rippon anyway. By the way, Joe Gibbs and the Redskins won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. I remember the Washington-Denver game vividly.
Doug Williams.
The second quarter was just unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest quarterback. Maybe the greatest quarterback performance in Super Bowl history.
Yep. Unbelievable. You know, the Broncos, I think they scored 10 points in the first quarter, and we're thinking, yeah, this could be a good game. And then boom, end of the second quarter, it's like, there's no point in staying up to watch the rest of this. There's no way they're coming back from this. But yeah, Doug Williams, wow, unbelievable.
And fortunately, at least Sean Elway got a couple of Super Bowls back in the day.
Yeah.
Reeves never won one as a coach.
No. Mm-hmm.
And then the one he got to, and then the Super Bowl Dan Marino got to in Atlanta, guess who he faced? John Elway, and the Falcons never had a chance.
No.
Okay, I've got one. I've got one for you. Who was the first kicker to win a Super Bowl with a winning kick?
Who was the first
in the last minute?
Oof. Blimey.
We know who lost one, but we don't know who won.
Yeah. Oh, blimey. Well, because Adam Vinatieri was in so many, was it him?
No, it's not Vinatieri.
I'm not sure.
I don't think early 70s.
Oh, blimey. I was born in 1970, man.
Okay, so would have been when you were still like this big.
Are we talking the Colts kicker?
What's his name?
I do know his name.
Jim O'Brien. Jim O'Brien won Super Bowl 5 with a field goal against the Cowboys.
Yeah,
By the way, maybe the worst Super Bowl of all time. They were like an unseen. There were too many turnovers at the Orange Bowl. There were more turnovers than oranges in that game.
Good line. I like that.
Maybe there'd be more Levi jeans than football players.
Well,
next week.
I'll leave you with this. I did hear Rich Eisen, and I tip my hat off to Rich Eisen on this. He's calling where the venue of where Super Bowl 60 is being played, the Field of Jeans.
Can't be the Field of Dreams, so it could be the Field of Jeans.
Levi Stadium, the Field of Jeans. Whether that's his own one, I don't know, but I think that's a pretty good.
And if Jim Harbaugh were playing in it, he'd probably call it the Field of Khaki Jeans.
Yes.
So ultimately, Seahawks Patriots, who starts the 60s with a Lombardi trophy?
Seahawks.
Why?
Because I think they've got a better all-round squad roster. I think their special teams is very, very good. We saw that with Shahid's kickoff return a few weeks ago. I just think I fancy the Seahawks, and obviously they've got more. It doesn't mean much, but I know they've played there every year. Seahawks against the 49ers. I can't remember the last time. How many of these Patriots would have played at the Levi Stadium. So, I'm going to Seahawks. It'll be a close game, I think.
You know what? I think a new dynasty will be born, and you know what? I think Drake May and the New England Patriots are going to make this a red, white, and blue season by beating the Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 60.
Okay, we shall see. And thank you for not saying Drake May. I'm sick of hearing that as well. So, yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to annoy you anymore because I'm sure how much you despise the Patriots, the Bills, and all these teams.
Yeah, well, I'm happy that Miami seemed to be moving in a new direction, and I'm happy for us to take the hit on Tua Tagovailoa, move on from him, take the hit on the salary cap, write this year off, rebuild everything, and then come back 2027. Be real contenders. Now, if we can do that this year and make the playoffs, brilliant.
I mean, you know what? Maybe this time next year we're talking Dolphins or Jags in Super Bowl 61.
Well, we'll wait and see. I think you've got more chance. Well, we did have a chat, didn't we, at the start of the season about who would win the most games. I think you were very generous with the number of wins you gave Miami, and I said no chance. And I think I did come out on top on that one. But, the last few years I've been really down on the Dolphins. Fresh start this year. Can only go up.
And you know what? Maybe in a Super Bowl 61, it will be a golden chance for one of our teams.
Yes.
All right, Charlie. So thanks for hopping on, and we wish your prop bets well, and hopefully we get a memorable game in Santa Clara, California, on February the 8th.
Indeed, and there's always next year for our teams, isn't there?
Unfortunately, so.
Thanks, Dylan. Thanks for having me on.